Hello and welcome to How I Built Bits, where I give you a cool tool, tip, or trick to improve your process and win back your time in 10 minutes or less. Clock's ticking, so let's get started. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about finding a VA and how I find my VA, how I delegate tasks and other things in the delegation field. So I thought I would start a small mini series here on the Bits channel, where I spend a few minutes talking about each phase of this. So first of all, I knew I needed to find a virtual assistant or VA in 2020. And the reason was the pandemic. I was working for myself. We had a 3-year-old at home. She turned 3 that year. And my wife is a nurse. And so she was not able to stay home, work from home. She had to go to work. She was actually busier than ever. And to boot, she was pregnant with our second child, a boy, who was born in July of that year. July 2020. So I knew that with my wife going to work 3 days a week and schools being closed, so I'd have to watch my daughter and soon son, which, I mean, my wife had 3 months off for maternity, but again, that was 3 months out of a 2.5-year pandemic. So I knew that if I wanted to keep running my business, I would have to get help. So I decided to look for a virtual assistant to do some of the tasks that I don't necessarily need to do. Now, I talk about my automation framework. I've got YouTube videos. I'll link to some of those in the description of this episode in the show notes. But as far as getting to the point where I knew I needed a VA, it was a breaking point for me. It was either stop doing my business or get some help. And so the very first thing I did was open up a note on my computer and write down everything I could think of that I did for my business. Everything from posting on social media to checking email to publishing my podcast episodes, creating thumbnails and artwork for my podcast episodes, reaching out to clients, sending invoices, just anything over about a 3-day period. Well, over 3 working days, that was probably a week's period. I wrote down everything that I could think of. And I would write down while I did stuff. I would write down if I was time tracking, I would write down those things. And then I made a list of about 10 things I knew for sure I'd be able to delegate. So these are things like maybe posting to social media, posting comments in my ill-fated community, and publishing my podcast episodes. So what I did from there was ask around. I asked some friends, hey, how'd you find your VA? I'm really not ready to commit to $15 a month, or if I'm $15 an hour. Is there something in between there? And the most common recommendation I got was onlinejobs.ph. This is a marketplace or a job board, not a marketplace. This is a job board for Philippines-based virtual assistants. And so at this point, I'll say, maybe you have thoughts about paying somebody $3, $4, $5 an hour, and maybe you don't feel that's right, and that's fine. You need to do what's right for your business based on the kind of skill level you're looking for. And I'll say that I wanted somebody to take the things off of my plate that I didn't want to do myself, right? And so these were common, repeatable tasks that I knew I can get off my plate. And so I didn't think I could pay more than a few bucks an hour for that sort of thing. Now, today I do pay my VA a lot more. I try to give her regular raises. I give her a minimum number of hours, right? So let's say she only works 2 hours in a week. I will pay her for 8 hours that week because I want to keep her. But anyway, finding the VA, I did this. I posted a job listing, and when you do that, be prepared because you will get thousands of responses. So what I recommend you do is create a job listing that has a few specific things, like ask for a few specific things in there. Have them answer some random question to make sure that they actually read the listing and the answer is there, right? It could be as simple as be sure to write the sentence, I read your request and I'm writing 42 at the bottom, right? Something, whatever, right? Some set of terms that you could easily search for or filter out. Because if they don't do that, then they can't follow instructions, right? And so they're already out. For the people who make it past your filter, first of all, I would also have an email filter to automatically tag and put the application responses. You'll get an email in a folder so that your inbox doesn't blow up. And then it's time to kind of sift through them. So what I did was I would kind of take 20 to 50 at a time, read through them, kind of get a gut feeling. Are they within my range, my rates? Do they have some experience? Can they do the things that I need them to do? Then I would send them a test. Then I would send them a test task. It was the same task for everybody, and I would evaluate based on the results. And so I found my VA, Anna, because first of all, her application stood out to me. It made me laugh. She said something about like, please hire me so I can tell my mom I have a job. I just thought that was really funny. And she performed the test task adequately, what I thought was really well, and she was within budget. And so that's how I found my VA. There are other marketplaces. I'm also looking at boss assistants from my friend Jordan Eaton. They don't do like they what they call their service is like virtual office management or virtual office management, something like that, right? It's like a virtual business assistant, something a little higher tier than what most people would consider a VA. And so I am looking at them for about 20 hours a month to do things like cold outreach to potential clients and getting me on podcasts. I have those processes in place. I'm just not taking the time to do them. And so based on their pricing, 20 hours a week will probably do me well, just again, to do things that I'm not doing. And whereas with Anna, I'm not necessarily tying direct ROI, return on investment, to her work. I just know that she is freeing up my time so that I can do the more important things in my business. With boss assistants or somebody at that level, right? If it's 25 to 30 hours, $30 an hour. I'll just do the math really quick here. If it's something at that range, right, $25 to $40 an hour, still stuff being taken off my plate that I wouldn't do, but at this level, it's things I know I need to do, but I'm not doing. And I can tie direct ROI to that because if I get on a podcast and then land clients from that, great. Or if they're doing cold outreach to clients and I land a client, great. So that's the kind of stuff you want to think about when you're trying to find a VA. What kind of tasks do you want to delegate? And how much responsibility do you want to give them? I just finished reading Free to Focus by Michael Hyatt. It was okay. I listened to the audiobook, but the delegation part was really helpful. He kind of breaks down these 5 levels. So if for nothing else, definitely check it out for that reason. But that's it for this episode. I hope it was helpful. If you have specific questions about finding a VA, let me know. And I will, in another episode, kind of go through my process for delegating to my VA.